Campaign Manager has many uses, but for this tutorial we'll build a tabletop role-playing one-shot. The software opens up to a blank canvas. The primary component is an encounter. Right-click on the canvas and select Add Encounter. We'll call this one Introduction. Click the plus button to modify the encounter. An encounter may have any number of items added to it. These include notes, music, images, combat engagements, and more. We'll begin with notes and type in our introduction to this one-shot campaign. In addition to information for the Game Master, we'll include a background story that can be read out to the players. Tell the players they should all introduce themselves to the other players, they should give their names and describe what they look like. The Notes field supports basic HTML tags for formatting. Let's add a heading tag for the introduction so it pops out. Click View Mode to see its final form. While giving this speech to the players, it'd be nice to have some appropriate ambient music. Under Add Item, we'll select Music. Beach seems appropriate. Campaign Manager comes with a library of dozens of looping songs, but you can also add your own. This is all we need for our first encounter, so let's close it. The icon on the left is the encounter status. Click it to cycle from Edit, the pen, to Ready, a blue circle. This is just for your own reference. It's not mandatory, but it's helpful as your campaign grows in size to keep track of what you finished writing, where players have gone, and what may come next. Let's get into action fast. So we'll make a second encounter called Ambush and give the players their first combat. Click the plus button to edit, and then add notes to set up the scene. After all the players have introduced themselves, tell them an arrow flies past their heads and 4 goblins from deep within the island pop out from behind bushes at the edge of the sand. Following combat, the players can search the area. Perception check of at least 10 finds tracks that lead further into the island. Players can follow the tracks or wander elsewhere on the island. Since this is a combat, let's add some battle music. The battle theme will work well here. And now for a key feature of Campaign Manager, the engagements. Let's add an engagement. Click the green plus button and add in some goblins. But how do we know if this is an appropriate challenge for the players? We need to evaluate the combat. Clicking Evaluate right now isn't too helpful as Team A, the player's team, is empty. We can add in a level 1 fighter just to see how it looks, but things don't look too favorable for the lone adventurer. We can add in all the other players here, but then we'd have to repeat this process every time we wanted to check an engagement. Instead, let's define the players in this campaign one time and reuse that for every evaluation. Close the engagement evaluation and in the player menu, select Manage Players. Click the Add button. We'll give generic names for now, but if you know the players' names, you can fill them out. Under Character, we'll select the class and level the player is. Now the specific stats, weapons, and abilities of Campaign Manager's characters won't match your own players, but it doesn't need to be perfect for the combat evaluation. We're just trying to get a general idea of the challenge of the combat. Now if we rerun our combat evaluation, we'll see much different results. Team A, our players, easily win. The combat evaluator runs variations of the combat many times to come up with probable outcomes. If players are exceptionally sneaky and actually follow through with well thought out plans, they'll beat the odds. If the players are sloppy or roll poorly, they'll perform worse than prediction. We can keep cloning the goblins until the combat is about even, but honestly, for first combat, keeping it easy is good. From the engagement item, we can bring up the goblin stats. At the bottom are the parameters used in the combat evaluation. Average damage, average to hit, and any special damage or healing. The player characters have similar. We can look up our character types under the Assets menu, click Search All, and find as desired. In the Assets menu, you'll see options for Fantasy SRD 5.1 and Fantasy SRD 5.1 NPCs. Fantasy SRD 5.1 is essentially Dungeons & Dragons based monsters, items, and abilities from their open gaming license. It doesn't include some proprietary monsters such as beholders, but it's a substantial library to work with. Fantasy SRD 5.1 NPCs are levels 1 through 20 of barbarians, bards, clerics, druids, fighters, monks, paladins, rangers, rogues, sorcerers, warlocks, and wizards. They can be used for helpful NPCs, enemies, or as we're using them now, rough representations of what the players are for evaluation. The reason you can check assets on and off is if you're developing a completely different genre, a cyberpunk dystopian future, a prehistoric era, or something else. It's a way to filter the asset search so you don't see goblins when you're trying to find spaceships. You can find your own assets, but that belongs in its own video tutorial. Now there is one more thing we may want to add to our ambush encounter, a battle map. Let's add another item, an image this time. Campaign Manager comes with a library of encounter maps. You can add your own bitmaps, JPEGs, PNGs, TIFFs, and even animated GIFs. For now we'll pick Ocean Beach. Campaign Manager has a built-in map editor to create your own maps, but that will also have to be another video. Mark this encounter as ready as well. Let's link our two new encounters together. Select them both and then click Link Selected Encounters. Linking isn't required, but it's helpful for the Game Master to keep track of where players can go next. After the players complete the ambush encounter, they might follow the tracks as they successfully searched for them. But we should also offer an alternative. Let's create two more encounters, one for Goblin Camp and one for Beach Cave. Link Ambush to Goblin Camp and Ambush to Beach Cave. You can group select encounters or use a control key to individually select them. As your campaign gets very large, it may be beneficial to organize encounters into regions. Right-click on the map and select Add Region. We'll call it Goblins and drag the Goblin Camp in there. Maybe there is a substantial side quest related to the goblins that has many encounters within that region. Regions can also have background images assigned. Maybe you use a region as an overhead map and link encounters to different locations on that map. So this is all nice for organizing the encounters, but let's use some tools to aid in authoring the encounter. Let's open up the beach cave and add in notes. Let's have a sailor inside that died months ago. What should we call this poor soul? Go to the Tools menu and select Name Generator. Under Type, pick Human. This is a gigantic collection of names from different languages. Each time you click Generate, a new list of random names is created to pick from. Let's find one that sounds good. Now we have an idea of what to add to the beach cave. You find a long deceased adventurer. Searching through the pockets, you find an ID with their name. This could be another side quest. Why was this adventurer here? Perhaps the players find a treasure map on the body leading them elsewhere on the island. Campaign Manager makes it easy to draft these ideas, organize them, and work out the branching story for your players. Okay, let's pretend we finished making our entire campaign. Now it's time to actually play it. We've deconflicted everyone's schedules, and by some miracle everyone arrives on time and the game begins. We could have printed all of this out and the Game Master just references physical papers, but perhaps we have our laptop ready, and even a second monitor for the players to see. As each encounter comes up, we'll play the music so the players hear the background ambient music appropriate to that situation. Now when we get to combat, we'll click Start Combat and have a form to aid in keeping track of turns, health, and effects. Have the players give you their initiatives. Then you can sort the initiative column. The Goblins' initiatives were automatically calculated from their stats. Need to know what the Goblins can do for combat? Click the Stats button. Under Tools, Player View, we can have a battle map drawn on a second monitor with an optional grid. We can even mask our areas we don't want the players to see yet, and reveal them only when appropriate. As encounters are completed, you can update the status to keep track of the player's progress. Are we done playing for the night? Under Documents, click Session History and record what the players have done so you can remember it for the next time or just to create a fun story when the adventure is over. There are more features in Campaign Manager and more features coming to it as it is still under development, but we'll wrap up this video for now. I hope this was a useful introduction and tutorial for making tabletop role-playing adventures in Campaign Manager.